Hey everyone! Today we're going to meet the microscopic all-star team that, and this is no exaggeration, powers our entire planet. We're talking about these tiny little engines inside every single leaf that turn pure sunlight into life itself. Okay, let's just get right into it.
I mean, it really does seem like magic, doesn't it? You look at a tree and it's just sitting there, quietly growing. But how? How does it actually take something as, intangible as a sunbeam and use it to build itself, to create actual energy? Well, that is the big question we're unpacking today.
And the answer, it all comes down to these guys, photosynthetic pigments. You can think of them as the most advanced, most efficient solar panels on Earth, period. They're these highly specialized molecules with one critical job: grab onto sunlight and kickstart the whole process of turning it into usable chemical energy. They really are the heroes of this story. So, let's meet the team.
All right, first up, we've got the captain, the franchise player, the one you've definitely heard of, chlorophyll. But as you're about to see, there's a lot more to this star than just being the color green.
To be specific, we are talking about chlorophyll A. This molecule is the undisputed most valuable pigment. And why is that? Well, it's because it's the only one on the entire team that can do the main event, what scientists call the photochemical act, which is directly converting light into chemical energy. Everybody else, they're just the support crew. And if you look at its structure, it's just perfectly designed for this job. It's got two key parts. There's the head, that's the complex ring with the magnesium atoms sitting right in the middle. This is the catcher's mitt, the part that actually snags the photons from the sunlight. And then you've got the tail, which is this long chain that works like an anchor, holding the molecule in the perfect spot inside the plant's machinery. Of course, our star player isn't totally alone. It has a key teammate, chlorophyll B. And get this, if you look at their chemical formulas, they are almost identical. But that one tiny little difference changes everything. See, chlorophyll A is the universal star. It's in basically every single photosynthetic organism that makes oxygen. Chlorophyll B is more of a specialist, an accessory player, whose main job is to catch sunlight energy and just pass it over to the MVP chlorophyll A. And, that brings us to the rest of the roster. Because let's be honest, no star player, no matter how good they are, can win a championship by themselves. They need a dedicated, essential support crew. So let's meet the carotenoids. These are the pigments that are responsible for all those brilliant oranges, reds, and yellows you see in the fall. And on our little solar panel team, they have two incredibly important jobs. They're the bodyguards and they're the scouts.
Let's break that down. First, as scouts, they absorb wavelengths of light that chlorophyll just can't grab on its own. They're basically scanning the entire light spectrum, making sure not a drop of energy goes to waste. Then, of course, they pass that energy over to chlorophyll A. And second, as bodyguards, they protect chlorophyll A from getting fried by too much sunlight. It's a condition called photooxidation. They literally take the hit for the team.
And this really says it all. The source material puts it perfectly. They are accessory pigments. They can't do the main job of converting light to energy themselves, but without their supporting role, the whole system would be way less efficient and a whole lot more fragile. So, rounding out this support crew, we have the phycobilins. Now, these are the true specialists, kind of like the deep water experts. You're going to find these red and blue pigments mostly in algae. Their whole thing is capturing the specific wavelengths of light that can get way down deep into the water, where other pigments would totally struggle. They do the same job, catch and pass, but in a completely different environment. Okay, so now that we've met the individual players, let's check out the team rosters and see how different kinds of plants and algae put together their own pigment dream teams. Looking at this table is kind of like looking at the different strategies teams use across the league. You see that all the higher plants, the trees and flowers we see every day, they use a classic reliable lineup, chlorophylls A and B, backed up by a solid carotenoid crew. But it gets really interesting when you look at the algae, who have to compete in totally different conditions. Take red algae, for instance. They make a key substitution, bringing in chlorophyll D and their deep water specialist, phycoerythrin, to grab those really hard-to-reach wavelengths. Brown algae? They've got their own playbook, subbing in chlorophyll C. It's just a brilliant example of how each group has evolved the perfect roster to dominate its own specific environment. So we've been talking about these molecules like they're on a sports team, but it's time to zoom out. It's time to really understand the profound global impact of what they do. And that's a totally fair question. We're talking about things that are so small we can't even see them, and they've got these complicated names, so why does any of this actually matter?
Well, because this is the big deal. This tiny, microscopic team, chlorophyll A and its dedicated support crew, is the fundamental engine for pretty much all life on Earth. Every single bit of energy that you are using right now, to think, to move, to just live, it can all be traced back to a single moment when one of these pigments grabbed a sunbeam. They are the literal starting point for the entire food web.
So, let's end with this thought. Nature, through this really elegant team of pigments, perfected efficient, self-repairing, and totally sustainable solar power billions of years ago. As we're all facing our own energy challenges, maybe the most important answers aren't in some high-tech lab. Maybe they're hiding in plain sight, in every single green leaf. So the real question is,